Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Bach, and I want to finish out this analyzer and code fix that I've been creating in the last couple of episodes on removing interpolated string syntax with the $sign if you don't need it. And there was a case that I ran into with verbatim strings. So where you could say a $sign at, which is perfectly legal the other way around, and you still need to preserve the at sign. If I remember from my, when I ran this the last time, it was actually removing all the tokens and just having the string because I was just preserving the text. I wasn't preserving the fact that you needed an at sign. So what I need to do now is say, if it was a literal, if it was an interpolated verbatim string, then I need to put the at sign in front. So I did some investigation and it seemed like if you had an interpolated string that had a verbatim in there, there is a interpolated verbatim string start token as a descendant token of the node that I'm looking at. So if I can find that, then I know that, and I just do this in the code fix, then I know that I need to put an at sign in front. So hopefully that's easy. The one thing that I felt that may take a little bit of investigation is in the Roslyn Quoter site, I did a couple of examples here, and I realize the text may be a little bit small, but where I was seeing, well, what happens if you put an at sign or an at $sign? And what's interesting is the way they do it is they, where is this? I believe interpolated string expression, verbatim string start token, syntax kind, you include that with contents, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there going, do I really need to go that far to do this? That seems a little too much. Like, why can't I just put the at sign in front? But again, we're going to just have to play with this and see what happens. So, but we do need to preserve the at sign because you might have lines in the string and we need to preserve that. Okay. So actually what I'm going to do here first is, interpolations has interpolations, and when string is literal, what I want to do here is say interpolated verbatim. This is in the, wait, am I in the right spot? No, I'm not, in the analyzer tests. I don't really care about this in the analyzer tests. What I do care about it is in the code fix. That's where we want to do. And yes, I do already have a test around that. Well, I do and I don't. What I want to do here is I want to say, how do I want to do this? Let's put this on the next line. This is a verbatim string. Okay. So we want all that to be surrounded, and then we want this to be, this is a verbatim string. That's what we want to have come out. Okay, and we can get rid of all these because that's what I was just experimenting with. And right now this should fail. In fact, let's see how this fails, but this should fail. And I think it should fail because it's not going to have the at sign in the result, in the fixed code. Because I haven't added that yet, and that's what I'm going to be doing right now. Hopefully. Hopefully I will be doing that now. So let this take its sweet old time to actually run and give us the answer. Okay, you say you succeeded. There's a red X here, but I don't know if that, unexpected output. Yeah, that's great. Well, this is interesting. That was really interesting. That was not what I was expecting at all. Yeah. Well, let's run these. 2 failed. Wow. Well, okay, I get that one would fail. But why would this one fail? Okay, this is really bizarre. I've not seen an error like this before, where it's coming up with this whole tree thing kicking in. And then that's not what I don't think I was seeing that in the last episode. So yet again, I'm running into something that I'm completely taken aback at. And I don't really know how to interpret this. Yeah, well, that's great. That's wonderful. That's awesome. I would love for this just to go. Yeah, if I would do this where I actually tried it all first and then I recorded it, it would go smoother. But it would also, I think, take away from the fact that I'm trying to do this on the fly and not do too much preparation beforehand. I'm streaming for Rocket Mortgage right now, and I do spend some time beforehand running through what I want to talk about to make sure that the plan is going to work. I don't want to sit there too long and stumble. Although that's part of it. I mean, when you're live coding, part of it is meant to not work always the way you expect it to. But this is getting a little frustrating because I'm kind of like, this should just work, and I don't understand why this wouldn't work. So it's like, what am I missing here? Why is this not quite giving what I wanted it to give? Those all do work. Code fix test, though, does not work. And I don't know why. If you want to make just a literal string, like var x0, this is a literal string, okay? And then I say build this. I was about to comment, but then it's going to actually make a tree with the comments in it. So, literal expression of a literal expression kind. This is a literal string. Right. The second one is getting a little bit more fancy. This is a literal expression, string literal expression that just has the @ signs in front of it, because this is actually what we want to get to. So if I look at my code fix, I'm making a literal expression that is a string literal expression that has a string literal in it. Now, in this case, it's just saying text, right? So shouldn't that be okay? Like, that's all I want is a literal string. So why is this being so much of a pain? Okay, now that passed. Well, okay, that's good. Let's see what this does. This shouldn't. I just don't know if it's going to give me that weird big tree error. I was just hoping it would. Okay, now it's giving me a diff, which is good. And okay, now we're getting what I expected, which is funny. It's not quite the same thing. Like, it wants the literal lines in there, which is this has this, R and N in there. Oh boy, this is going to be fun. Because I don't know how to actually solve this. Because it should actually be like this and not an R and an N in it. If I'm looking at the code here, it's like saying, oh yeah, you have a return, a line feed character or character return line feed. I can't remember. And it's just saying it's a literal, but it has the two texts in here. So, oh boy, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Okay, well, var is verbatim, which means does the interpolated string node descendant tokens any? And then what are we looking for? We are looking for, this is in my, God, I don't even know what would you do, kind? Syntax kind, is there like an interpolated string, verbatim string start token. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay, now why is this barking? Oh, it takes a node. There we go. Okay. So now if it is, if is verbatim, else, what is this coming out with? A literal expression syntax. Literal expression syntax. String node. And you're going to bark because I want to be default. You're still going to bark. Oh, God. I know it's... If it is verbatim, then you're going to do something. And what are you going to do? We're just going to say you're going to do exactly what you're currently doing because I need to fill that hole. Okay. Else, you're going to do this stuff as well. So it's like it's not actually doing any kind of switch. And we need to, okay. There. Okay. Now, if I come back to that code here, it's saying it's a literal expression, string literal expression, and it's a literal, but it's funny because it actually has the @ sign in front of it, and then it has the @ within it as well. You notice that? And then the other one doesn't. So we're going to just say, we're going to put an interpolated string in here that is going to put an @ in there. And we need to be @. No. I'm being an idiot. So we need to have the @ in there, but then we need to put the text in there. Okay. Now that's half the battle. Because we're just taking the text, which doesn't have it. So now we actually need to have within the text a oh dear Lord. I'm like over analyzing this. If you do just in a verbatim string, this is the 2, but you actually, this? Is that what you're trying to get at? Literally verbatim it, and then, and I've had coffee this morning. So, yeah. Oh, God. What am I doing? I think that's what it's asking for, except, what? Okay, now it did. Okay. Let's see now what all these tests do. God, I don't know why this is cracking me up so much. It shouldn't, because I feel like I'm just absolutely failing right now. Yeah, 1 passed, 1 failed. That's great. What did you fail on? Yeah, now we're getting this whole... is pattern expression. Yeah, we're still getting a RNN, and that's not what I was hoping for. God, I wish this was being nicer than what it's supposed to be. Well, what are we in? No. We want to be in debug. Otherwise, I can't debug this. So we're going to say RT, debug this, and let's see what is actually coming through. So what does the text look like? This is a verbatim string, and is verbatim is true. So it does, that did work. Okay, and that's good. But we're not building it up the way it should be, which kind of stinks. And now I can't remember why I'm actually looking at this as a verbatim string. What's the actual contents here? You just have one. Okay. And so the one, its parent, yeah, but we don't want the, that's weird. Like you don't see that this is a you don't see the line feed character, but you probably couldn't. I mean, I get why it's not showing that. But it is there. I mean, it does realize line feed carriage return is there. It's just not showing it as such. And so we're saying, I don't know. If I do at plus text, yeah, it's saying that, but you need to actually make that verbatim itself. Like, what is this? That doesn't really help, does it? Yeah, I'm stuck now. I don't know what. I don't really know. Well, wait a minute. I'm trying to do this. Not that that really matters. So the x1 is here. And the variable declarator with initializer equals values clause literal expression string literal. Literal. That's x1, right? That's what this is what I'm trying to get to. Is something like this. Okay. And what I was hoping is that it would actually like put the, like, how does it know? Preserve original white space? I don't know. With initializer equals values clause. Literal expression. So that's actually the literal expression itself. But we're trying to put it in the same spot that this is right here. Oh, what? I don't know what it just, I guess run, keep going, which is not what I intended. This is frustrating. This is really frustrating. Like I wish I could see that this is one problem with this approach is I wish I could see what the actual, what it thinks is the fix. And I don't want to see it as a tree. I want to see it as this is the output. And it's not doing that. So that was one thing that I liked with what I was doing is I could actually see. This just dives into that. And you just, you know, any remaining diagnostics are defined in markup. Yeah, that's great. And if you add diagnostics, those are what you expect. But we don't have, I mean, is it saying that there's diagnostics? Iterative code fix application expected 4/3. Let's just grab all this. Let's put it over here. Is pattern expression... Why does it expect a is pattern expression? It should just expect a, that is a, I don't have to put an at there, do I? You know, well, hold on. Let me actually, I shouldn't because the original code doesn't do that. It doesn't try to escape it. So I don't think that's necessary. What does this think it actually is? Yeah, now it's going to think it's a double at, which is not what we wanted at all. Whereas this, and as the code is finding, it is a verbatim string. So that ain't it, but it thinks it's like a pattern. Is pattern expression identifier name. We're giving a string literal with this. And then it has all this, like it's really confused as to what I'm putting in for the code and how it's parsing it. It's breaking it all apart as this is a verbatim string, and that's not what I meant at all. So is there something wrong with this code? There shouldn't be. It looks like a lot of text. This looks like what it should be. So I'm really stymied. And I think at this point, I'm just going to stop because I honestly don't know what's going on here. I would expect that this should work, but it isn't. And I'm completely missing the point. So I'm going to do some work offline and try to figure out what's going on with this. And then in the next episode, hopefully I'll have an answer and I can move on to some other stuff. Okay, I'm going to add this on to the last video I just made. So I did figure out what the problem was, and it was actually staring me right in the face from that Roslyn quoter site. It just, the combination of verbatim strings and double quotes and double quotes, it was just like, I don't know why. It just took me a while to get my head around it, but I finally did it. So if I go into the code fix, you literally have to do what was shown there and have the at, and then have it be actually a verbatim string with the text, and then just put the text in like that. And that seems to work. If I go into my test fix here, or my test here for the fix, you'll see that down below I have a test for this is a verbatim string, and then you'll see that it preserves all the lines and everything, and it keeps the at symbol there. If I run the actual project, if I run the project as a v6, and I get that fired up, you should see that when I bring the scenarios up, that, and you have to give this a moment because it does take a little bit of time, but I do have a class in here to now find this. Now it's an info, so I do have to look for the smudges. You know, it's not as obvious as seeing a bunch of red squiggles under the code, but I know what to look for. So once it finally loads and gets there, hopefully everything will be good. Okay, here we are. It took a second. But you should see that this one, once everything's warmed up and everything loads and Visual Studio takes its sweet old time and gets us to where we want to be. No, there isn't. Okay, there's going to be code lines there. Okay, so we see a smudge here. String is not an interpolated string, and we also see it here. Okay, and now if I say, let's do the code fix, what we should say is change to a literal string. And what that looks like is basically that. And so the interpolated string thing goes away. So we're good. We're good. I just wanted to put this in at the end. I didn't want to do a whole episode of doing this and then doing a whole bunch of other stuff because I'm not ready for that. So I figured it'd be a good way to end the previous episode with this, which is not the previous episode. It's this episode. You know what I mean. We're good. So I will move on to something else in the next one. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.